Phil Galfond, known online as OMG Clay Aiken and J-Man28, is one of the world's toughest cash game players. His daily life consists of risking hundreds of thousands of dollars in high-stakes cash games online, and he has even taken his game to the hit show High Stakes Poker on GSN, where he ended up after his session versus some of the best players in the world. This month alone, he is up $1.3 million. Galfond recently took part in the World Poker Tour Championship here at Bellagio. He was among the chip leaders on day 2, but he took a swing for the worst and he was out before the day's end. We have Phil here today to talk about what happened in that tournament, how he got into high-stakes cash games, and about optimal cash game play. So thank you for being here with us today, Phil.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
First off, you amassed a lot of chips at the WPT Championship yesterday, and then you ended up getting knocked down. How did you amass the chips, and then what happened that got rid of most of them?
Yeah, I mean, most of the hands were standard. Early on, I won more flips than I lost. Later on, I lost more flips than I won. I actually had one really interesting hand early that I wanted to brag about. Where
we allow brag posts here.
Okay, cool. I think it was... it must have been 400, 800 blinds, so first day. I'm about 80K deep, and I open the button with Jack-4 offsuit, and Amir Vahidi calls in the small blind. Big blind folds, so there's like 7K in the pot. And the flop is Queen 8-7 rainbow, and he leads into me for 3,500, half pot. I make it 8K. He thinks for like 15 seconds and calls. And the turn is an ace, bringing 2 hearts. So it's Queen 7-8, ace, 2 hearts. He checks. I bet 13K, which I think's okay. Like, he has to fold maybe a third of the time to make it right, or whatever. And he calls, and the river's a king, bringing a 3rd heart. And
so now you have a straight out there, possible straight,
possible
a 3rd
straight,
heart.
possible flush. And he bets into me. Plus we had, 2 bets going on the flop, 1 on the turn. He bets into me for 22K, and I call, and he mucks.
He mucks before you even turn over your hand?
Yeah. Yeah. So that, he said he had 5-6, but I just had Jack high. But yeah, because I didn't think that besides Jack 10 or like pair plus flush draw, I didn't think anything played it like that.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, that's it.
Well, you were one of the chip leaders on day 2. Was it anything that you were doing wrong that was knocking you down, or was it really just a matter of getting yourself into a bunch of flips that didn't work out for you? And if that's the case, should you have gotten yourself into so many flip situations?
The way I play tournaments, and I can't really be sure it's the right way, but I think it is, because I don't have a whole lot of tourney experience. But I guess I play a pretty high variance style, so that I do end up getting big stacks and end up losing big stacks. But I think it puts me in a good position to win the whole thing. But also gives me a good chance of getting knocked out. And so I definitely put myself in a lot of situations like that where I'm risking my tournament life. But I don't think I played it badly. I mean, with a couple hands here and there, maybe. But no, I feel like I played well.
Okay, so no regrets.
Mm-hmm, no.
Well, you started out playing poker, playing cash games with what has been said to be a significantly under-rolled bankroll. So why did you do that, and how did you overcome that?
It's probably, I mean, it was a bad decision. When I started out, I played sit and goes I was sit and go pro for a year and a half, and then I moved over to cash games. And I played well within my role for a while until, I guess, Party shut down, and I started playing on UB and Full Tilt. And I don't know, I never really was at risk for losing all my money. I would just play, I'd play like 300, 600, 60K buy-in on a 400K roll, which is way under-rolled. But if I lost 60K, I'd stop. So I was never really at risk to lose everything, because I could, if I lost, step down. Some people have to chase their losses, and I could handle just losing the 60K and moving on. I still think it was probably a bad decision, and I did run bad the first few times, but eventually, it worked out, and I stayed up there.
Well, so how did you get into high-stakes poker to begin with, then?
Poker in general, or just higher stakes?
The higher stakes. Like, how did you build yourself up to be able to do that, or were you already rolled for it, even though you were under-rolled?
Sit and goes, actually, I did pretty well in sit and goes, and from there, for like a year and a half, I built my roll up steadily. moved to 510 cash, which I was rolled for, but I wasn't good enough for because I never played any cash games.
And how'd you get into that? What made your decision to do that?
Actually, my friend Peter Jetton, he played sit and goes too, and had switched over to cash and just told me, you can make a lot of money at cash. So I tried it. I was probably a break-even player when I started, but I learned pretty quickly, and I built steadily up to like 10, 20, and then there were some good 50, 100 games, I guess 2 summers ago, where I was really at like a 10, 20 roll, and I took shots at them and actually lost a lot, and then took shots again maybe in the fall of that year and ran well, so then it stuck.
So are you still bad with bankroll management, or have you kind of figured it out and gotten into the swing of things?
Yeah, I'm a lot more conservative now. I guess because
you have more to lose. That's
yeah,
for sure.
that's absolutely what it is. When you had 100K 2 months ago and now you have 800K, it's not like that upsetting to go back to 100K. But when you've had a certain amount of money for a while, it's like a mental line that's drawn. So if I were to like cross back down to that, I'd be pretty upset. So I'm more careful now.
Okay. Well, you've said before that one of the pivotal things in your growth as a poker player has been just having smart poker friends and talking to smart poker friends. What kind of epiphanies have you had talking to these people, and who in particular have prompted them?
I've learned so much from all my poker friends, and I hope I've taught them things too. But I guess my 2 friends who I've learned the most from, one's Tom Dwan Durr, and I just remember way back, I didn't know what I was doing still, really, and he was already a high-stakes cash game player, and I was having brunch. No, it was like 4 a.m. I was having whatever meals at 4 a.m.
Is the meal relevant?
Yeah, no, okay. It's actually not. I was eating with him in Hollingall, plays on Stars, and they were talking about a hand, and I don't remember the action of the hand, but the way it went down, basically, Hollingall had like a top pair weak kicker type hand and was facing a big bet on the river. And so I was thinking, okay, this is pretty close, call or fold. I'm not really sure. And Tom says I would shove. And like, it blew my mind because I just didn't consider, that you have the option of turning your made hand into a bluff. Just because it was a spot where, Hollingall couldn't have air. So by shoving, he was just repping huge hand. And even though he's good some of the times he's not good, he can push the other player off a hand. So it kind of started to make me think that every time you're faced with a decision, you have, especially in no-limit hold'em, you have essentially unlimited options. And you have to look at the reasons for all of them. And another one, my friend Dan, who is complete unknown. But
what's his name?
His name's
Let's make him known.
Dan Quinn.
Okay.
He plays 510 through 2550 online. And he lives in Madison with me, and just comes over like 4 days a week and sits at the computer set up next to me, and we just play poker all day. But he's a really smart guy, asks all the right questions, and really thinks about the game hard. So just having each other in the same room for that long, talking about hands that often, you just can't help but learn a lot. So just having somebody to talk to, it's huge.
Okay. Well, one of your other poker philosophies is that whenever the action is on you, you have the opportunity to make the perfect play. How does thinking like that help you improve your game?
Yeah. I definitely think that's true. It's much easier said than done to think like that. Basically what it is, what most people are thinking during a hand is something like, okay, please no club, or, please don't bet, check. And that's really wasted energy. It's wasted thought energy when you could be thinking about, okay, if the turn is this, what should I do? If the turn is this, what should I do? If he bets this much, how should I react and why? So anytime you're thinking about anything besides the right way to play the hand, you're wasting energy. And it also kind of, if you can think about it as a challenge every time it's your turn to act to make the right play, the perfect play, it kind of becomes more of a personal challenge than a game where you win or lose a lot of money. So I think it helps you play better. Yeah.
Well, and like you were talking about too, where if you think of every single possibility for every single card that comes out, on the turn or any kind of variation on what he may bet or what he may do, the more you do that beforehand, the more naturally it will come when he actually does it. You won't even have to think about it anymore. You'll know the right answer to the question, like even before he does it.
Yeah.
So you'll be wasting even less energy, and you'll be able to pay attention to more things that are going on in the game, it seems like.
Absolutely, yeah. And plus you kind of prepares you. It's like playing 10 hands at once. You get that much more experience because you're just looking at all these different scenarios that could play out.
That's a very good point. Well, what weaknesses do you still have, then, that you're trying to improve upon? Not improve upon, that you're trying to correct.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't know anybody that doesn't have leaks. If I, like, exactly knew all my leaks, I'd try better to fix them. I'm definitely too call-y overall. And I guess I am... I think I lose focus too often. I think a lot of people do, but I think that I'm on my A game maybe 60% of the time, and that can definitely be improved upon.
How do you improve your focus? Because that's a problem that I think a lot of people have, is that they, especially the internet players, they seem to lose focus really easily.
Yeah. I don't know if you know Tommy Angelo. I was coached by him. He's a really great coach, really smart guy, and great writer. I don't know, he's taught me like a few things about it. What he likes to do is mentally reset before every hand. Like either by, if you're playing live, have like one stack of chips to the side, and while the dealer's shuffling, just move one chip over, which kind of just lets you know that you're realizing that the next hand's being played during the moment. And he's big on like breathing, and he says he likes to take a big breath before every hand, just like a big conscious inhale and exhale. And I definitely do that, especially playing live. I do that whenever I remember to. But it's hard. I'm not really sure how to tell people how to fix it.
Okay. Well, you've said before that you kind of put a challenge on the table to any live TV pro that's not named Ivy or Antonius, that you would take them on in a heads-up match, and presumably because you could beat them. So do you really think that you are what seems to be the third best heads-up player in the world?
No. Well,
it seems a bit cocky, but you're allowed to be cocky.
No, that does sound really cocky. I shouldn't have said that.
Okay.
But
why did someone take you up on it that you didn't want to?
No. Just because I don't know. I didn't really want to call anybody out. I said that, I think, in a post on 2+2. And I was upset about like how I didn't really get a great shot at playing on high-stakes poker because I was bumped for some TV pros. And I think it was like a big tangent to a really long post about just poker and TV in general. Anyways, I guess officially I'd like to not challenge anybody. But I mean, I can't think of somebody who I would refuse to play. So if they want to challenge me, that's okay. But so, I don't want to call anybody out. So
it's really not that you think that you're better than them all, it's that you're willing to try to hold your own against anyone except for Ivy and Antonius, basically.
No. I wouldn't play in a game that I didn't think I was a favorite in.
Okay.
So I guess, yeah, that's all. I shouldn't have said that.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
What percentage of hands do you think is the optimal number to play in a heads-up match?
The truth is, it doesn't matter as much as most people think. Most people spend a lot of time talking about it. It's slightly player dependent. You know, if your opponent's folding the big blind a lot, you can open every hand from the button. Against a lot of players, you can open every hand from the button. If your opponent's not raising many buttons, you can't call a re-raise in the big blind that much. But I honestly think anything between playing maybe 35 and 65% of hands heads up is pretty close. Depending on your style, it can definitely all work at high stakes.
Okay. And do you think going over 65 may be overdoing it a bit, and you can't help but leak in the long run?
I think that against a good player, yes.
Okay.
If you're against a weak player who's not going to take advantage of it, you can probably play it more.
And does a lot of which hands you fold depend on position? I mean, how important is position really in heads up, especially compared to a full ring game?
Position is really important in both.
But is it more important in heads up?
It's maybe slightly more important just because it's that more often that you both don't have a hand. And when you both don't have a hand, it's better to be in position. But even when you both do have a hand, it's better to be in position to extract more value or, check behind to save money. Position's huge. I'm very careful about not playing big pots out of position.
Well, it's kind of interesting, though, because it seems like more and more being out of position has almost become an advantage if you're a ballsy player. Because if the person behind you doesn't have a hand, if you bet even with nothing, a lot of times they're going to fold. Or if they do re-raise you, you can, 3-bet and get them out of the hand. So sometimes not being in position, just being able to have the first action can give you an edge. Is that not true?
I think it's more true in tournaments than in cash games. Because in tournaments are kind of like a game of chicken. Because really, if you want to make money, you don't want to coin flip against somebody else. Because just your tournament life is worth too much. So in a tournament, usually it helps to be able to, like there's a pot size bet left on the flop, it's kind of better to be out of position so you can shove and put them in the spot where they have to get out of the way. But in a cash game where that doesn't exist, I don't think there's any situation where it's better to be out of position.
Okay. Well, what do you think of the notion of having momentum in a heads-up match then? Because you hear a lot about that. But, if you've won a few hands in a row, you have the momentum and you're bound to win even more hands in a row. Is there any truth to that at all that you see?
Yeah, there is. I think it's more... I think some people think it's like a magical thing, momentum, that just like something that exists on its own. And really what it is just, for the most part, confidence. When you're winning, your confidence is higher. You make better plays, you make more risky plays, especially in a heads-up match where you both have nothing. If you're losing, you're more afraid to make a check-raise bluff. This guy's been owning me. I don't want to try anything. So definitely the player that's been winning is going to make more aggressive plays and pick up more pots, which is an advantage in heads-up play.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I had for you. I really appreciate you doing this interview with us.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you guys for watching the Online Zone on Card Player TV.